I recently released a video where I reviewed MyContentPal. Well, as part of that review, I interviewed Craig, the founder of the company. Now, I put a small snippet of that video in the review, but there was a whole 40-minute discussion where we chatted all about the company. We talked about niche sites, affiliate sites. We talked about AI and ChatGPT and the effect that it's going to have on the content writing industry. There's lots to delve into, and I really enjoyed the conversation with Craig, so I thought I'd share the full 40-minute interview with you guys today. If at any point you do want to sign up to MyContentPal, then the link is down in the description below, as is the link to the full MyContentPal review. Guys, I hope you enjoy this one. I certainly did, and I think you'll find there was some interesting topics up for discussion. So I'm very pleased to be joined by Craig from MyContentPal. Craig, good to see you. Are you over in South Africa?
Indeed. I'm down in Cape Town just now. It's probably one of the. I'm quite well travelled, but it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. It really is magnificent. It's quite affordable too. After the flights. So yeah, I'm down here. The only annoying thing is they have a thing called load shedding, which is why this got delayed 30 minutes. So they shut the power down to the grid. It's kind of annoying, but that's what it is. But yeah, my girlfriend's from here.
Ah, okay. So a small price to pay, I suppose, for being out there. I mean, it's -5 here, so you're probably doing a little bit better than that.
31 degrees, but it's very clammy. It's like not even a nice heat. It's just, I think there'll be a thunderstorm tonight, if I'm honest.
Oh, okay. So I'd take that. I'd take that for 31 degrees. So you are, am I right in saying you're the founder of MyContentPal?
Yep. So MyContentPal was my second company. I started Link City before MyContentPal, but COVID completely killed that. I ended up pivoting to MyContentPal. Before then, I hated content, and since then, I've came such a long way as myself as a copywriter. MyContentPal was my second company. I did have a business partner, but I bought him out, and since then, I've grown that to where it is today.
Okay, so just tell us a little bit about MyContentPal. Now, you've touched on your background there. So MyContentPal, how long has it been in existence?
Geez, since COVID started, the last few years have been a complete blur. But so before COVID started, I had Link City for 3 months. Then after COVID kind of hit, I basically had no income for 3 months. So then I started MyContentPal because I got a big contract from an affiliate site owner, did all the content myself, learnt it from the ground up. And then at the time, like stuff for SEO was booming, and we just kind of read off their success, and we get so many clients from word of mouth. Like even to this day, we don't really we spend nothing on paid media. We don't do anything. Everything's referrals, which I think is a test to the service. And we have good reviews off that. So yeah, it just kind of after Suffer took off, we went with it.
Okay, so you obviously you've touched on Surfer there. That's all the content that you guys produce is Surfer SEO optimized, and I've obviously recently tested out the service, and we'll have a little chat about that. So, are you guys? I mean, I'm not that familiar with all of the competition. You probably know more. Is that quite a unique thing for a content provider to provide in terms of it being Surfer SEO optimized? Do you know, like, do the competition do that, or is that something that you guys specifically focus on? And why is that, do you think?
So when we first started, I think people did offer like SEO content, but it was only that period when I started MyContentPal, everyone started to pick it up. Now everyone does offer it, they do. And there's other tools out there too, like Page Optimizer Pro, and they're all good tools as well. I think now the reason I like Suffer is we were brought up in it. We prefer it. We don't use, like, we have a certain way of using it. So for example, we only focus on the top 25% of the keywords. We don't use all the keywords they suggest, because then I found that it gets a little bit stuffy. For example, we would use the Suffer word count as a suggestion, not as a requirement. So if it suggests 3,500 words, we are not going to try and hit that. If anything, we're going to try and do significantly less than that, because No one wants to read 3,500 words. So if it's like a best of 10 article, if you're doing like 10 products, like, well, I don't see the point in reviewing 10 products. I personally prefer to review the top three and then compare them between each other. But it's hard because a lot of our clients, like we're not in a position to educate everyone. So
Yeah.
we do what they want. I just try and steer the writers in the best way, which is just cover the topics, focus on the top 25%, focus on like use it as a guide, not as a requirement. And then we tell our clients, like, if you find that after 3 months there's further optimizations, then do that because it's easier to optimize further than de-optimize. So everyone does use Surfer. How they use it, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how they use it out the box or what, but I do know that over the last few years, we've really refined the process.
Okay, that's cool. And so, in terms of your competitors, then, is there anything else that kind of sets MyContentPal apart from the competition? Because you said, it's growing, you're doing incredibly well, lots of word of mouth referrals, that sort of stuff. So you're obviously doing something right. So what is it that sets MyContentPal, in your eyes, aside from the competition?
To be honest, I don't really look at the competition. I don't see the point because I don't want to become a commodity, which I already feel like we're becoming, which is why we're going to be doing a complete overhaul of the service because I'm not happy with it, even though our clients are. I'm not because I'm trying to look at where is it going, not where it is right now, not what is the current landscape. So why I think we don't always get it right, and I'm the first person to put my hand up and say that, but we always try and fix it, and I think that's what makes it special. Like I'd rather make a loss on one campaign to fix it and make like the person happy if it is possible, if we can learn from it and improve on it. One of the things that make us special is a proofing team. So that shouldn't even happen that much because our proofing team, they're like our last line of defense. It's their
Mhm.
job to better the product, not to fix edits, not to, which is what it's becoming as we scale. It's getting harder to this as we scale. But where our focus has been the last 2 months is to be looking at how do we improve the product, which is a writer. So how do we hire better and onboard better, and then think about where is everything going. So again, we're thinking 6 months in advance right now. We've become a lot stricter with our writers, and also you asked like a minute ago, or maybe it's just how I picked it up, but how am I improving is asking people like you to do this review, and you just get given free random writers. Like I still don't even know if it's a good review, by the way.
No, you don't, do you? You
I
haven't
actually
seen
don't
it.
even I actually don't know if this is like a hit piece or anything, but the truth is, even if it
No, it's not.
was, it pains me inside. Like to see negative comments, like I take it really emotionally, because this is my baby. This is got I got to where I'm at today because of this company. So if people like I writers aren't able to meet the My Content Pal standards, then it hurts me because it's not a lack of. At first, it was maybe a lack of processes. This I told you I ramble, but at first, when we had a lot of problems as we were scaling, it was a lack of processes. So we fixed that. So then it's a case of are we hiring the wrong people? So then we tried to fix that with recruitment, and then compensation plans and everything else. And I don't know if you want me to leak where we're going, like where My
I
Content
think we
Pal is
can.
going.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about it. I think it's quite exciting. I think to kind of go back to what you said, it's definitely the one thing that stood out for me was that you were very much wanting to receive feedback. And I know you talked about that. My Content Pal are looking to scale, looking to grow. But the one thing that really jumped out to me was how open you were to honest, critical feedback. And to be honest, that's why I initially responded to your tweet. And just to put that into context, you put a tweet out, didn't you? Not just for people like me with an audience, but for anyone who uses content writing services in exchange for some good, detailed, critical feedback. You were offering a certain amount of words. So I'm assuming you got quite a lot from that, which is great. But the point is, not every company does that. So I think
Mm.
it's a testament to yourself and to the company that you're actually willing to listen to the customers and like you said, you're getting a lot of positive feedback at the moment. It'd be very easy to kind of sit there and just take on all that positive feedback. But yeah, I think you're certainly moving in the right direction. So you teased us there So give us a little bit more. What can we expect in 2023?
Well, look, I think anyone who's tried to grow their own content team knows it's a very hard thing to pull off. So I have three businesses now, and the other two make just as much as MyContentPal now, with very minimum input from me. Which just also shows how hard this model is. The truth is, to scale this model to where I'd like it to go is such a hard thing to do, and I think that's why, as a business scales, as like a content agency scales, you should start to become concerned, because it's very hard to keep that amount of people in line in a business
Hmm.
that's so subjective and has so many different parts. And there's a lot of threats to this model too, like AI and stuff, which we'll come to. So what are we doing? What are we changing? So we are on the front end of MyContentPal in 2023. We are no longer going to be selling by the word. I think selling by the word is stupid. I think the reason I did it to begin with was industry standard, and it was very easy to copy that model and then improve on it. But there came a point where I realized it didn't even matter if I had, like, you bring on writers, right? And to get to sell at the price that we sell at, you can't hire pro writers. Like, you hire people that are just out of uni, you hire people that have like a copywriting degree, you hire people like that, but they don't have, or and the way I've done it anyway, they don't have more than 2 years experience in a
Hmm.
copywriting job. They just don't. And that's okay, because we do have people senior to train them and stuff. But there comes a point where that just gets really, really hard. So on the front end, when you tell people this is a 3,000 word article the client's paid for, well, you then have to go back to the client and go, well, no, look, you shouldn't be doing 3,000 words here. You've put that in. You should be doing, like, it's going to cost you 2,400 words. So we then owe you 600 words back. You can see how very quickly, when a company's doing more than 2 million words per month, that gets chaotic.
Yeah.
It gets really, really chaotic. So what I want to do now is sell by the page, because that means I'm going to sell you an article that's covered completely. We have all the right FAQs. We don't have extra FAQs in just to make it fluffed out. We have covered all the topics. We've done the research. So we'll be selling on research time. So there'll be like 3 different bands. I
Hmm.
think this is still getting tweaked slightly. So, for example, band number one, just an example, there'll be like an hour and a half of research time, that article. If you decide, okay, well, I really want this piece to be, it's I don't know, cryptocurrency, so it needs more, then you might choose 3 hours of research time, and that'll be how we're going to sell the article, and the price will change. And I just think it's a much better way of doing it, because selling by the words, I'm just very much not liking it. I think it encourages bad habits, and I think people think it's a ranking factor, and it's really not. It's really not a
Yeah,
ranking factor.
I think that's a really
Um,
interesting point, and not all content is the same, is it? Some content, like you said, it does require more research, and other content doesn't. So that's a really interesting concept. I think that could shake things up a little bit, and I think that's certainly something that sounds interesting and quite appealing to me. Okay,
mm.
anything else
So
that we
that's
can expect?
mm. There is. So that won't.
You've
Not
got a
everyone will
smile on
like
your
that,
face.
because it will be more expensive. But the truth is, here's the other thing too. I think um, where we're priced just now. So I think in SEO, I don't mean this negatively. I think in SEO there's the kind of cheaper end of the market, there's mid range, and there's premium. And I think anywhere between the 6 and probably 10 cents is like mid range. Then it becomes premium. There's a lot of
Mhm.
people that know they can get the content cheaper, and a lot of these affiliate guys come from like having to proper hustle. So they come from oh, let's watch the pennies rather than let's look at the pounds,
Yeah.
and that causes some issues in itself. But anyway, doing it at the mid-level price range, you can't please the people that want it cheaper. And if you try and do that, mistakes start to happen. And then also, if you try and, I've had people come to me and say, "We won't touch you, because how can we touch you when you charge their bottom prices?" And I'm like, "What? Like, I thought it was quite expensive." And when I heard that, and then I actually had like 2 pieces of feedback from American clients at the same time, and it gave me a complete paradigm shift, because I was like, "Holy shit, they're right! Like, I can take this to the next level." And to do that is research time. So anyway, I realized this new move won't please everyone, but here's how it can. So we're going to be offering subcontracting. So we're going to be subcontracting some of our writers out. It'll be a very tight process. We won't be doing this for everyone. But if you come to me, let's say you have an affiliate site, it's a 6 month project, this will be contracted to. And you just struggle, or maybe you just don't have the bandwidth to hire people. Well, we'll give you a process, and you can rent a writer's office. They can work closely with you, and a lot of times they just, and some of the mistakes that we see, there's just a disconnect between the founder and what they put in their briefs. And they really just need someone to hold their hand and guide them through it and help build that out. And I think the subcontracting model is going to be really interesting, because when a client comes to us and they order like 200,000 words, we can give them a lot more, because we can do that research up front, create like a big, massive brief. I've found, by the way, when someone orders more than 200,000 words, it's like a one-off, the content tends to be much better all the time. I think there's only been one case we had an issue with a bulk buy, and I'll tell you why it was. We've went on way too long already, but I'll tell you what went wrong with this. So there was nothing on SERP. There was nothing to base anything off. It was a health niche, medical niche. We had to dig into PubMed, bring everything out. These guys aren't medical writers, but we still pulled it off. So there was a lot of mistakes in some articles, and in other articles they were great. But it was very scientific. We were talking about like amino acids, like proper scientific stuff. So I think we did a really good job for the price, but I underpriced in that one. So this is where it comes back to research time. That topic needed so much more research time. And if we had it, we could have given them what he wanted, but we just didn't have the research time. So the other thing where I was going with that is, in other cases where we had those bulk buys, we were able to divide the cost of doing all that upfront research amongst all those articles, and it made sense. Where some people were coming in and just buying like 50k words, and I don't know how long they're going to buy that for. So you're very limited in what you can do. And if you get someone that's truly passionate and can buy into a 6-month project, then you will 100% get better content than an agency like MyContentPal. You just will, because someone that's got an interest in it will go above and beyond because they genuinely like it. And I think, I think if content agencies want to be AI, they need to start thinking like this.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay, that's interesting stuff. And I think working with, you touched on working with a dedicated writer there. And I know you offer subscription packages, don't you? So like you said, if someone opts in to buy 50 or 100k words per month, then that helps the kind of research, it helps the process from your point of view. And what you're saying is that the person that's ordered is going to get a better quality of content. I know certainly from my own experience working with writers that when you send them, when you work with them for a longer time, the content quality automatically improves because they understand what you want. And I think you said that it's about trying to ensure that there's not that disconnect between the brief and what the writer understands and then what ultimately comes back. So I can see why that would definitely help. And I think you touched on the fact that, so did you, I think just to make sure that we're on the right wavelength here, you did say that you're developing a system where you can work specifically with maybe one or two writers. So almost, so you can work more closely with those.
Well, no, they would become a part of your company. So they would be a part of you, but we've taught them how we prep content, how we write content. We've set the expectations. We've taught them how to ask you the right questions and do that research. We've taught them how to manage you as a client, because clients need managed. And we've also set the expectations what the client wants back. So you're getting someone straight off the bat, no need to really onboard. They basically come into your business and say, well, look, Jason, this is how we should be doing it. And I think you'd also get it much cheaper than what we're selling just now, because it's like Chinese whispers sometimes. Things get lost, and it's a lot easier for us to get like a 3-month contract too. So you'd get the cost per word down a lot, and that would please a lot of affiliates, a lot of agency owners. Also, putting someone on a 3-month contract isn't as scary as hiring someone full time, and then having to train them up and that. Like the risk isn't really there. The problem is you still need to manage them. Like you still need to lead them and guide them. And again, part of this, we would tell you how to do that, or how because you need to manage writers too, and that is tricky. There's this. Yeah. Writers are a rare breed. They're creatives. They need to be. You can't really redline them, or they push back, and you notice that in the work. Very hard to get there right.
The thing that I've certainly started to do with my writers that I've been working with for 12, 24 months now is just to give them more free rein. I'll
Oh, they
tell
need
them what
it.
the topic is, and just give them free reign. And the quality of content that comes back is so much better when I don't give them rigid structures, or get them to kind of emulate what's already on page one. Obviously, there's an element of that that's come in, but I'd rather do that at publishing stage than to restrict them like you said, they're creatives at the creative stage, because ultimately I want the best quality content to come in. But I think the fact that it goes through Surfer SEO, you're kind of offering the best of both. So do you get your writers to write directly into Surfer, or is there a process whereby they write and then it goes in and then it's tweaked, or do they write directly in there?
No, so they write directly in there. But you also touched on something else. Like what I've found with recruitment, you can't hire people that are too creative. Like we sometimes have hired people that have had a creative background or they want to be an author and stuff like that. You can't manage those people. They're like they just run away and do what they want. And that's part of the risk of hiring people. So you may get someone that can pass a writing test. But I don't think that's why we changed the recruitment process too, that we test in a lot of other things, not just can they write good content. So when you use the subcontracting methods or service, like it'll help a lot, trust me. But yeah, they write straight in Suffer. Sometimes they use phrase, again, if it's something like
Yeah.
the medical stuff that I said, they'll use phrase for topic curation, and phrase is great. Like they'll go into that, prep out the headings and stuff, and bring it through. I really like it's like a kind of heat map thing for all the different topics they've got. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's really cool. So they'll use things like that, which again, they bring new content to the table and not just look at SERPs and copy from SERPs and just regurgitate what everyone else is doing. I'm trying to teach them to be divergent thinkers, which is really, really hard. And that's how you beat AI, is to think wide. And there's an example that I put on the My Content Pal podcast with Jamie IF, he's him on Twitter. So
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
making like 80K a month from affiliate, and we spoke about this a lot in that podcast.
Okay, that's interesting. I'll link to that podcast if I can in the description of this video. Yeah, we've had Jamie on recently. In fact, I did a live with him yesterday, so that was interesting. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Very clever.
Okay, so okay, I think we touched on this. In fact, let's talk about the content that I had back first. Because I know
So was it
I've
good
sent
or
you
bad?
I've sent you an email with some feedback, and on the whole, I've got to say I was impressed. I was pretty impressed because I've used a lot of content services in the past, and I say a lot, probably 4 or 5, so not loads, but enough, and I've never been massively impressed with the content that's come back. And I've got to say, and I'm not just saying this because you're here, yours is the one that's impressed me the most out of all of those. So first of all,
Thank you.
you're probably doing better than the rest. And on the whole, the content was good. The first thing I'd say is the systems and processes for me were excellent. I really liked I don't know whether you're going to continue to use this format, but it was a Google sheet that I had to fill out for the briefs, and to be honest, it covered every topic that I would give my own personal writers. So that was good. It all made sense. So that was all good. Quality of content in terms of written English and grammar, that sort of stuff, all top notch. It was authoritative. It was, I'd say, on the whole, it was accurate. There were 1 or 2 pieces where there was a couple of product reviews, and there were a couple of bits of information that were not correct. I had to tweak, but 99% of it was accurate. For me, the only kind of feedback I would say in terms of the quality of content was that for me it was just not. It was a little bit dry, as in the way it was written. So I like my content to be quite conversational, have a little bit of character, and I felt that was lacking a little bit. But I'm sure that's something whereby, like you've just said there, I mean, I think I had 3 different writers for those 4 pieces of content, or 4 different writers. So I'm sure if I was working with a specific writer, that's something that could be improved upon and developed. But
100%.
but that's me being quite harsh. I've got very, very high standards when it comes to content, because I've got these writers who I've worked with for 18 months. So it's probably unfair and unrealistic to expect a content agency to come in and deliver content that is at that par with on their first deliver. Because if I hired my own writer, they would probably produce something similar to what you guys sent me, and I'd have to work with them to train them and get them to deliver exactly what I want. But that's just, again, like you said before, it's about setting those expectations and then having that, making sure that there's not that disconnect in terms of what ends up coming back. But what I will also say is that I've published, prior to this call, I published two of the pieces out of the 4, and both went straight on page 1. So from a ranking point of view, I mean, it is a fairly strong site. It's seen as an authority in the niche. So typically we do see page 2/1 on initial publication for most of these types of keywords that we gave you. So, but I'd say it was maybe slightly above where we normally position right from publication, like within 24 hours. And normally what happens is within a couple of weeks, we'll see another little bump up. So, I mean, one of them actually went position 5 for a fairly competitive YMYL keyword. So that was really nice to see. So in terms of rankability and in terms of kind of, raw quality of content, absolutely no issues. It was just, for me, the writing style just needed a little bit more personality.
So we have quite a wide range of writers that we have, the sort that is perfect for business type stuff where you don't want, let's use another one, like law, let's say law. You don't want someone to be fun and creative and quirky in that.
Yeah.
You just don't. So we can change those tone of voices and stuff as well. But it's harder, obviously, for someone that can write quite dry and business-like to have a quirky tone of voice. And that's where we just need to match them up better. We have other people, like, if you look at the MyContentPal tone of voice on the website, like on our marketing copy and stuff like that, it's quite fun and quirky. And we use analogies like, we can write your content fast and you can say stuff for SEO. Like we do a lot of that. It's just about pairing you up. And we actually saw a massive increase in lifetime value when we changed the minimum order from 3,000 words to 10,000. And nothing else changed but that. But one of the reasons I think it is because someone had 3 people to try than 1. So I think a lot of people come to these content companies with the wrong expectations. They come for an out of the box solution. When you're paying less than 10 cents per word, I think that's unfair. What you're paying for is to significantly reduce the bandwidth and your overhead of having a content team. You reduce the bandwidth significantly by using us. The first couple of weeks, teething issues are always going to happen. But after that, if I genuinely, I'm saying other companies, if you're a client of mine, I'll care about you and I want you to stay as long as I can. Like I don't treat clients like I'll just replace you in a month. It's just a bad way of doing it. And I know a lot of agencies do. So I guess what I'm saying is just pick right and then give them a bit of time. You'll have way better. Like, all the pros know that too. They know they just want one person to work with long term. Like Digiloft, Jim Brockbank, like he's publicly said that he uses this for his affiliate site, and that's again a live case study. So I don't think he'd mind me saying it out loud, but like James is a clever man because he knows that he doesn't want to scale a content team. It's hard work. He just knows that finding one partner long term is better. And
do you know what? And that's exactly my philosophy. That's exactly what I would be looking to get out of this. And I think any kind of mid-level affiliate up to like your super affiliates, this sort of concept is perfect. I suppose the difficulties, I'm thinking of the audience maybe watching this video, is how effective it is for your lower level affiliates or beginner affiliates that don't have that income yet, and so they're really watching the pennies. And I know what you said about watching the pennies rather than watching the pounds, and that's fine, I think, for those mid and top level affiliates. But obviously for the lower level, it is harder. So I'm just thinking about those people watching this and thinking, well, I'd like to use the service, but I can't push to 50,000 words a month at the moment. Is 100%. MyContentPal accessible to those, do you think, or is it still worth them looking in?
It depends on the niche. Like if it was something medical, now we'd probably turn you away. But if it's something like travel or something like that, then we're pretty good at that stuff because we've done it so much before. Now, I said the 50,000 word thing. I just meant we can do more research, blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't mean straight off the bat we're not trying to do that. It just means that we might not get first version to you like 100% perfect. But that's not to say that you get time to. I can't remember the actual terms now, to be fair. But I think you get like 14 days to come back to us with requests.
Okay.
We'll do the edits. If you're not happy, then we'll 100% edit it. And if it came back and like, oh shit, that is slip past proofing, then someone more senior will look at that piece and go, oh, okay, we have missed the boat here. We will fix that. And then off the back of that, there's a process in place to go, well, that writer needs to get trained more. But I think a lot of people also buy, they just go, no, fuck this, that's it, not happy with that. I paid good money for this. I'm never going to work with you again. Well, okay, you're going to have to build your own team because I promise you, these other agencies, you're either going to get lucky or yeah, and I get it.
Do you
I
know
get
what?
that reaction. This was hard-earned money.
Yeah, yeah, of course. But I really, really like your approach. From what you're saying is, and I've seen like I said, I've seen those initial processes myself. But from what you're saying is, it's all about quality. It's all about making sure the customer's happy, and it's a journey. It's not that just that first initial order. It's about working together, improving, understanding what that customer wants. And to me, that's music to my ears. Like you say, it's not easy to find a writer that can give you 50,000 words a month and train them up, and that's just one. To do that, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, it's not an easy task. So the fact that you
And to
guys
keep them
kind of
for
offer that, yeah, exactly. So that's music to my ears, really. So I mean, from my point of view, listening to you today, having had the content that I've received from you, I will 100% be using your service going forwards, and because I want to put that to the test. I want to put that to the test. What you've said there, and really look to find. I've got a decent. I've got a decent team of writers. I've got 3 or 4 kind of well engaged writers that I work with. One is pretty much full time. The others are kind of like probably half time, like part time. But yeah, like for me, it's a solution. And you touched on travel there, and I've kind of just announced on Twitter that I'm just going to start a travel blog next year. So that's also interesting to me. Okay, let's move on. Go on. You wanted to follow on?
I was just going to say that niche, like we've got quite a few travel clients just now, and like I think a lot of them came off the back of James's public case study because when he put the last one up, like he was doing insane amounts after just 9 months. It's very very cool to see, but we actually have a few travel clients just now, and the very niche travel topics that I would never have thought of before. And before I would have thought travel's saturated, but we have a huge company in the US, a huge SEO agency, one of the biggest ones that use us for one of their sites. And it's quite an interesting niche in the travel space. So I guess the point to take from that is, you think a niche is saturated, there's still
Oh no, yeah.
don't have those limiting beliefs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I looked at just some random keywords that I just kind of plucked out of thin air, and the search volumes were insane, and the competition wasn't that great in terms of like raw SEO stats. So it really opened my eyes, and it's just an interesting niche, isn't it? I mean, who's not interested in travel? Like you said, you're a big traveller. So okay, let's change topics a little bit. By the way, there's links in the description down below. If you do want to test out MyContentPal and sign up, that is an affiliate link. So thank you if you do use that. But like I say, I've tried and tested it. 95% happy with that first batch. So if we can refine that and improve, then I'm gonna be putting more orders in. So let's just change tack a little bit. You touched on this earlier about AI content. So you don't use AI content in your writing at all. Is there any risk that a writer could use AI? And like, do you have anything to safeguard against your writers doing that without you knowing?
So this is something I'm battling with because It's here sooner than it was. I didn't think GPT 3.5 would be here this quick. And then one day I opened up Twitter and saw it go crazy, and I was like, oh shit. Right. But before that, I've been looking at AI since about May, and I talk openly with all my biggest clients about it because I know they're clever people too. And if they are starting to think it's a potential to move there, then I'm going to lose huge chunks of revenue.
Yeah,
So I'm talking to all of them about it. The general consensus is nowhere near where it needs to be. I don't think it is either. And I think actually anyone watching this just now, you can everyone's getting distracted by it. Stop. Like, just focus on what we know, and that's produce good content that covers the topic and covers the niche. Focus on that. I think everyone's trying to use AI right now, trying to rinse it. Black hat SEO as well. They will make a buck off it. But I think that's just a few that really know how to leverage it. I think the majority of people, we've saw it before too. I remember like at the start of the year when Jasper really popped up. I really went crazy. We lost a lot of lower end clients to that. None of my big clients went. None of them went.
yeah,
And all the smaller ones did the full 360. They went from using an agency to using Jasper to trying to use their own writers again. They all still there and it's about the same amount of money. And I think we're doing a piece just now about why some affiliates make it and others don't. And this it touches on it and there. The way I look at AI, right? So you asked about can I stop my writers from using it? I can't. They all work from home. I can't stop them from using it. But I can build my business in such a way that they get value from it growing too. So we have like a profit share coming out now. There's a bunch of other compensation plans coming out to keep writers involved in growing my content pal. Because there's no way I can scale this to the next level without having buy-in from every staff member. And we're going through a bit of a funny period just now where I've literally said that to them. I was like, look, we're at wartime just now. There's at least 4 or 5 different threats I can see to the company. And
mhm,
I genuinely believe we're in wartime. And I need their buy-in. Like, I need them to help me. It's not the time for good work. It's the time for our very best work. And that's the only way we're going to be able to beat where AI will be in a year, in 2 years. The way I keep saying about AI, I use the gym analogy. So if you go to the gym to lose fat, then to lose weight, then that's cool. That's great. It's a great first start. You then see there's fat burners. So you buy fat burners as a supplement. You then decide to stop going to the gym and just use the fat burners. You're not going to lose weight. You can, like, fat burners are a great supplement, but they're not, like, you can't just use fat burners on their own. And in fact, if you do that, you'll probably find you'll have other health consequences like jitters, anxiety, all these other things. And in fact, that your motivation will go down, that you probably put on more weight because you'll replace it with something else. So people can go try use AI just now. They might get away with it for 3 months. Will they get away with it in a year? Don't know. Will they get slapped by some update? Don't know. But I really do believe there's a group of engineers in Google trying to work out how they prevent against this. I don't know how. I'm trying to think about it, but I'm also trying not to give too much bandwidth to it because I know what works just now, and I just cannot see Google letting this. People keep saying it doesn't matter the medium if the content's good. Are you sure?
yeah.
Um,
Well,
I don't know. I don't know.
I
I'm not the
yeah,
right person to
no,
ask.
no, I'm with you on this. I mean, Jasper's a different level, isn't it? To like the stuff that's coming out now with GPT. Was it 3.5? Did you say?
I keep calling it that. I don't
It's
know the official name, but yeah.
Yeah, so like, there's a lot of talk about this Chat GPT, and like you said, Twitter just suddenly blew up one day, didn't it? With everyone talking about it. So I obviously went over, had a little look. I literally spent about 3 minutes on it in total, and I was impressed. I was impressed by it, but I'm completely with you on this. It's not obviously it's open source anyway at the moment. It's not a finished product, but it's not going to replace the highest quality writers or even like a mid-level writer. For me, it's not anywhere near that standard yet,
Mm.
and I will not be transitioning any of my written content for my profitable sites into that. Will I test it with a like a churn and burn type site? Maybe, but I think it is a distraction. And whilst everyone else is posting screenshots of all these wonderful things that they're doing with ChatGPT, I'm just working away as normal. And I think that is the right way to go about it personally. I've never, to date, I've not seen anything that can be written better, particularly on topics where there is a bit of expertise needed, and there's a bit of knowledge required and a bit of research. Just not seen it. So for me, yeah, I'm sure it is going to disrupt things, no doubt, but I don't think we're there yet. So I don't think you've got any major concerns. And I think, like you've said yourself, the proof is in the pudding, in that your top clients, have stayed with you and have obviously, they're obviously doing fairly well out of it. Otherwise, they wouldn't still be clients, would they? So it's all good. This was supposed to be, Craig, I think, like a 5-minute chat, and we've gone in. I think we're 40 minutes in now, but that's great, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little snippet of this video, pop it into the review, and then this is going to be a video of its own right. So if people are watching this as an interview and they've not watched the full MyContentPal review, I'll link that down in the description below as well. So we're going to get a few uses out of this, which is really nice.
Cool. I just want to touch on the AI thing a bit more, because just another point coming in my head. Like, I'm pretty confident that AI is going to cost something like 2 cents per word, because it's costing them a fuckload of money to run this thing. I can't remember the exact number, but it's something like 30 million plus a month. So if it's going to cost you 2 cents per word, I think it's 2 cents per word. Don't do your own due diligence, but I'm pretty sure I saw in the Discord chat there's going to be 2 cents per word. To then have to edit it, and then also have that little thing at the back of your head going, well, has it missed something? Again, that's another reason why I wouldn't be getting distracted by AI. You also said, how do I stop my writers from using it? I can't make my mind up, but I'm not sure I'm going to stop them from using it as a research tool. The question is, how do I recruit people that I can trust and share the same values? So over the past 6 months, we have been trying to drill in our values as much as possible, and try and recruit based on that as well. There is a few things you can do to check. So there are tools you can use to check for AI, because the last thing I want done is AI content going out the door, and then Google then goes, whoa, hold on a minute, figure out how to figure this out, and then they get hit. Like, I would hate that. So we've been using a few odd random tools, but they aren't 100%. I've found that if you run content through Hemingway, it tends to be a higher grade than it should be. So that's where our proofing team comes in, and they check things. There's other things as well. Like, I think our proofers, I'm not personally, but I think our proofers are starting to catch on to long-winded sentences. But by the way, I've been getting ChatGPT to build me a course on how to use ChatGPT. So I'm going to release that in the next week or so. And again, it shows you how to adopt AI, but as a supplement. It's scary. It's scary. I don't know where it's going. But I do know, if you want to just focus on the next year and make as much money in affiliate, I wouldn't get too hung up on AI just yet. And pick a good team.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Are you an affiliate yourself, Craig?
So for a long period, I had this like limiting belief that if I was to start my own affiliate sites, then I'd be stepping on my clients' toes. Because in the beginning, we got so many random niches as well. We had so many niches we were covering. And
you
then
see them
I was
all.
looking to, again,
You've been in a sweet shop.
Absolutely loads. But I think Ian Natal's, like, again, when he released, is it Niche Finder? I can't remember what it's called. I know there's two, but whatever his is called. When he released that, and you saw all the niches in there, like, a lot of this stuff hasn't been covered, and even then, like, even I'm still finding new niches. So big part of Q4 was to start our sites again, our own sites again. So we have 3 massive projects. The first one's going to be like 60 million words. That I don't think I'll even get close to covering it. Second one, I think I'll make this one public, but it's going to be in the Nomad space. So I don't mind sharing that. And again, that's just because I just want the traffic for another business. But for a long period, I was just focusing on building my own brands, which was Link City, MyContentPal, SEO for Hire. We then have 2 courses coming out. So we're doing called Confessions of an Agency Owner, which is everything I've learned in building an agency. And it's mostly like mindset stuff and how to lead a team. Like it's very much focused on the pains that agency owners go through. But there's over like 100+ lessons in that, and I've not even covered most of them. So that's been like a big personal project because it means a lot to me. So I haven't really had time to do them, but now, yeah, we've got those 2 sites, and the other site which is coming out too. So there's 3 sites coming out. Again, they all have another use case outside of affiliate. It's mainly other service-based businesses that I plan on building in the next 2 years. For me, I think I've gotten very good at building agency service-based companies. I've got 3 now that do a lot, and I think I can. Honestly, I think I can really make a big impact if I just stick and focus on that. Just so happens I'm going to leverage the traffic from your typical affiliate type sites for my own services now. So yeah, but I also think that's key. I think focus on building brands now, not niche sites. Brands are going to win. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a topic for another day. We could carry on talking for hours. I feel, Craig.
I ramble. I'm really sorry.
Hours and hours. Well, I'm exactly the same, so I feel you. But no, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us today. Did you want to carry on?
I just want to promo something. Just one last promo. Absolutely. Not even my content, pal. So we are. I don't know. What do you use to project manage your projects? What tools?
I tend to use Sheets. To be honest, I'm proper simple and basic. Just Google Sheets, spreadsheet.
Oh, fair. So we're releasing. We're going to be releasing ClickUp. So we use ClickUp. So we're going to be releasing our workflow for building our own DFY site. So we're going to add to it. So anyone that buys it in January, they'll get loads of updates. But essentially, it's a ClickUp workflow of how to build a DFY site, start to finish, and it's going to be pretty cheap.
Okay,
so I've just gotten
cool.
hiccups.
That sounds cool.
So
you're talking too much. Okay, that sounds really interesting. Well, everything we've discussed today will link down in the description. So if you can fire some emails over to me with links to everything, we'll get everything linked, and so people can find them. But again, thank you so much for coming on, Craig. I think it's been a real interesting insight into the life of a content agency, but also all the other things that you've talked about there. I think there's so much that we can take from that. So thank you so much. And it's certainly, it's kind of, I mean, I already had an element of trust in what you guys had done because of obviously using the service. But for me personally, it's kind of just taken that to another level. So hopefully it will be the same for people watching. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate it. And anyone that's watching, I think MyContentPal version 2 is going to be bigger and better, which is coming next year. And if you do one, I'll give you this link to my YouTube. I'm going to be vlogging the whole thing, so that'll be coming in the new year.
Fantastic. We'll keep an eye out for it. Cheers, Craig.
Thank you, Jason.
Like I said, that was an interesting conversation, so I thought it was worthwhile sharing. Now, if you want to check out the full MyContentPal review, you can check that video here and see exactly what I thought of the service when I wasn't talking one-on-one with Craig. It's definitely worth a watch, and hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and it just leaves me to say good luck with your projects, and thanks for watching.